Hi, I'm Steve, the introverted traveler. I've made it my mission in life to explore the beaches, deserts, mountains, and even cityscapes around us, and to do so while avoiding contact with as many people as possible. And although I will never hang out with you for any reason, I do invite you to join me on my journey. Come and see the world through the eyes of an extreme introvert. On this edition, we are hiking up the Bells Mountain Logging Road in the Yalcott Burn Forest of southern Washington. Along the way, we will see fall colors, pass through spooky, possibly Bigfoot-infested, forests, and traverse up logging roads. Lots and lots of endless logging roads. How exciting! That's what's coming up on this Introverted Travels. Greetings, and I'm back yet again on yet another adventure. And today, it is the very beginning of November. We are now deep within the fall season. It is misty, it is rainy, it is foggy. It's all those adjectives that you'd use to describe. And unfortunately, many of the hiking trails that I would normally do, most of those are like under 20 feet of snow right now. So instead, you get me out in the middle of the woods on a creepy road. Now, the regular viewers of my videos are going to say, oh, great, it's yet another fire road. You're always on fire roads, which is absolutely true. I am always on fire roads because literally that is like the bread and butter of AllTrails. Forget about actually groomed and official trails. No, AllTrails loves the fire road. But this is actually not a fire road. This is a logging road. Today, I am out on the Bells Mountain Logging Road, heading up to the Bells Mountain. I don't know if you caught the first two words in the three-word name. I'm here in southern Washington. I'm actually near a bunch of waterfalls. This is Moulton Falls County Park and a bunch of other places around here. And I actually parked at the trailhead of one of the falls, and I'll discuss that in just a minute. But you might be asking yourself, okay, well, what's the difference between a fire road and a logging road? Well, fire roads are used by emergency services to access areas during fires. And logging roads are used to, decimate and clear cut an area, thus leading to increased climate change in the long run and the creation of those fires that the fire roads are used to fight against. So they kind of go hand in hand. I mean, one exists with the other. It's a yin-yang thing here in the forest, but one is about conservation and saving lives, and the other one is about capitalism and tearing shit down. Once again, I'm in the beautiful, beautiful woods. I am on about a 6-mile round trip, according to the first sign of the apocalypse that is AllTrails. So that means I'm 6.5 miles, 7 miles. I mean, the sky's the limit, and your guess is as good as mine. So that's where I am. That's what I'm doing. But what, you may be asking, about the meat and the potatoes of the introduction section? Well, as I said, I parked at the trailhead for one of the waterfalls, and unfortunately, there were people. Not only were there people, there were screaming children, and they were screaming so loud that I walked down the road to the trailhead of this particular trail, up this trail about a quarter of a mile, and could still hear them going, people, you are not supposed to release your hatchlings out of their incubation chambers until the 18th year. I keep telling you that, and yet I'm seeing toddlers and tweens and preteens and teenagers all over the place. Stop it. Leave them in their incubation chambers and let the world have a breath. But what's really fortunate for me is I'm on an old, abandoned, creepy, in the middle of the woods logging road. And all the people on that trailhead were going to the waterfalls. There's nobody out here. So I could do all the introverted math I want, but usually creepy, abandoned logging road that leads you in the middle of the creepy, abandoned woods zeroes out the possibility of people, or at least reduces it way down. So I didn't go to the waterfalls. No, I decided I was going to go into the murder woods Because let's face it, if anything's going to happen, it's going to be murder. More than likely, I'm not going to see anybody out here. If I do, it's probably going to be a guy carrying a chainsaw wearing a hockey mask. As long as he doesn't say hello or good morning to me, I'm perfectly okay just to run down the road as he chases me trying to slaughter me. That's okay. It's the social interaction that I object to. So I'm gonna do the 3 miles roughly up, the 3 miles roughly back. We're gonna get up to the peak. I don't know if there's views, and it's also a cloudy, foggy day, so I don't know if there's gonna be any views up there. So we may go up there and see absolutely nothing, as we usually do, and we might take a quick jaunt back down through the creepy murder woods and back to our car. But hey, at least there's no people. Now watch, I'm gonna get up there and there's gonna be hikers everywhere. There's gonna be hikers, there's gonna be dogs, there's gonna be Boy Scouts, there's gonna be church choirs. I mean, it's Sunday and I'm doing an introverted travels video. That's just how the universal cookie crumbles. As usual, I spoke too soon. So just a few minutes after I made the introduction to this, wonderful Pulitzer Prize winning video, it is never gonna win anything. It's not that good. I turned the corner and a dog came walking down the trail and sniffed me. Now, I'm not complaining about that. No, that is next to godliness. When a dog comes to sniff you, I mean, I've said this in the past, but that's basically the dog giving you its autograph. No, what I object to are the 2 people who were walking down the trail and were attached to that dog. Of course, they had another dog with them. So really it was 2 dogs and just 1 person, because according to the rules of introverted math, the heartwarming presence of 2 wonderful fluffy dogs cancels out the soul-crushing, horrific presence of 1 human being. So basically I saw 2 dogs and 1 person, but that was 1 person too many. Oh. So yeah, I thought this was going to be a wonderful day out here in the middle of the weird and creepy and kind of scary looking forest, out on an old abandoned logging road. In my mind, I'm hearing the banjos in the distance and the rednecks cackling and the sounds of chainsaws and the sounds of their victims screaming as they put them up on meat hooks. And I'm like, oh, okay, those are the only people that are going to be out here, and they're psychotic and have already gotten their bus load of cheerleaders, so they're going to leave me alone. But no. There's other walkers out here. There's other hikers out here. At least if there's like murder going on, it's in the bushes. It's not on the trail. But no, there's other hikers on this trail. So it just goes to show that no matter how deep in banjo country I go, it doesn't matter, because the people are everywhere, and they hone in on the fact that I'm an introvert and don't ever want to see them. And they come up to me and say, hello, good morning. Oh, there's my dog. Can you talk to me? So much for solitude and happiness and joy. As I always say, when I'm alone out here and I'm actually, right in the head, which is very rare because, I'm not alone out here often, and very, very, very seldom am I ever right in the head. But whenever I'm in a place where there's solitude and my heart is swelling with love, the universe will stare at me and go, that's wrong, people. And it snaps its universe fingers, and next thing you know, dude with trekking poles just hiking up behind me, going and then hiking up the top. And no, I'm not making fun of his trekking poles. I'm making fun of its entire existence. There's a difference. It's okay to use trekking poles. Don't worry. I use them once in a while. They're great for stability, and they're a great tool for hiking. But why do they have to be attached to people? I'd rather just see random hiking poles on the trail. I don't want to see random dude. I swear. I mean, this is not the most spectacular hike. As you can see, there's very little as far as views go. I mean, yes, the forest is pretty. It's a beautiful little forest. I'm in a beautiful part of Washington State, It's the part where a bunch of Trump signs, so I don't know how beautiful that actually is, but it's not terrible out here. I thought I was going to be alone, but no, I just got passed by Mr. Trekking Poles, and I saw people with dogs, and there's nowhere to go. I mean, people keep saying, go out further, go out further. There is no further. You don't understand it. Humans have infested the entire planet. They're crawling on this planet like maggots on a corpse. And frankly, maggots on a corpse are probably a little bit more useful than human beings. So yeah, it doesn't matter where I go. It doesn't matter what weather I do it in. It doesn't matter what time of day I do it in. It doesn't matter what season I'm out here in. It doesn't matter. They're gonna find me. They're gonna hunt me down. They're gonna get out their trekking poles. They're gonna pass me. And they're gonna look at me and smile. As I said, this is not the most exciting hike because I'm literally just on an abandoned logging road. Not a dilapidated one. This is a well-kept abandoned logging road, which makes me think it's probably not all that abandoned. But there's not a lot going on out here, except for dogs and dudes with trekking poles. But aside from that excitement, my mind, as we know, has been left to wander. I'm seeing side trails here and there, other roads, things that are off my map, so I'm not going to go investigate. But what if that trail right there was the trail that Bigfoot uses to drag his victims into the woods, or maybe her victims? I don't want to gender Bigfoot. Bigfoot's a big scary monster. It doesn't need a gender. I mean, big scary monster. Let's not discriminate one way or the other. It could be male, could be female, it could be non-binary. We don't know. All we know is that that is the trail that Bigfoot uses to drag its victims into the woods and possibly chew their faces off and rip their hearts out of their chests and, you know, bite into them, and there's blood spurting everywhere, and it happens right there in the woods. I think I see some blood on that tree. Oh, wait, no, never mind. That's just moss. So this is the Bigfoot Eat Your Heart trail, right there. No, I don't actually know where it goes. It's probably a trail that hikers use to go poop in the woods. Maybe that's a little scarier than the Bigfoot scenario, and I probably should have gone with that story instead of the stupid one that I made up. But yeah, this is what happens when you put me out in the middle of nowhere. You got beautiful trees, but I mean, I'm surrounded by the spooky woods. The mind is going to wander, especially one as demented and weird as mine. There's another side trail right there. Now, that particular side trail, Bigfoot doesn't use that one to eat you. Bigfoot will drag some, unsuspecting victims into the forest for an elaborate human Bigfoot mating ritual. And so that's the Bigfoot love trail right there. Yeah, it's absolutely true. You've seen it in horror movies. Bigfoot wants to get freaky with the human race, and does it right down there. But that's the Bigfoot love trail. That's where the hanky-panky and the weird stuff happens. We'll just leave that for the imagination. And what I'll tell you is, aside from Bigfoot pornography happening right over there, that's where the Bigfoot pornos are shot, right there. I'm still moving. I'm still going up the hill. I'm not going that way because that's down the hill. No, I'm going up that way. Now, every time I turn a corner, I'm like, well, maybe there'll be something cool to look at. Maybe it'll be something pretty. Just keeps going up, and it's just surrounded by trees. I mean, that's literally this entire hike. Why there's people out here with trekking poles making their way to the top with enthusiasm, I could never tell you. I'm only out here because I had nowhere else to go. What the hell am I going to do on a Sunday besides hiking and talking to you? Go to a party? Yeah, right. Like, I get invited to parties. You want to watch me bazooka vomit? Invite me to the burden that is a party. But instead, I'm on the burden that is a decommissioned logging road, heading up to a peak that may or may not have views and may or may not have other hikers eating sandwiches. What am I talking about, folks? This is a party right here, out here in the middle of the strange woods with the sandwich eaters and the Bigfoot pornography. That is a party. It's a Sunday party. Welcome to it. I am almost to the very top. And as I get closer and closer, I'm seeing people. Okay, well, full disclosure, I saw 2 people, but to me, that's 2 people. I mean, that's cause to jump into the bushes and cower and cry until they pass. Seriously, 2. Oh yeah, and I'm hearing gunshots. For whatever reason, in southern Washington, every time I'm out in this general area, there's gunshots. I don't know if they're hunting. I don't know if they're sport shooting. I don't know if they're just randomly chasing each other through the woods trying to slaughter one another. I have no idea, but there's always bullets, which when you're out on a decommissioned road in the middle of the spooky woods, it's such a great thing to hear, just random shooting in the distance. I don't hear any screaming, but that's next. But forget that nonsense. That's the way I came. It was uphill and hard. And this is the way I'm going. Also uphill and also hard. And I'm almost at the top. So I'm gonna get to the top. I'm gonna look at whatever views. I mean, I can kind of see hazy views, and there's houses and you know, mostly bullets and shooting and screaming in the distance. But let's get to the very top, see what we see, cross our fingers that those 2 people, that was it. Well, apparently this is it. No views here. According to the AllTrails map, this is the end. Actually, the AllTrails map said I got off the trail, and there's actually a trail over there in the bushes. But I don't think this is. I'll backtrack and see if there is. But yeah, once again, AllTrails is such a stellar app. It brings me out in the middle of the woods. There's no views out here. There's absolutely nothing to look at other than, you know, trees and more trees and places the Bigfoot stalk you from. It makes you go up a gigantic logging road, up a giant mountain to bring you the middle of the bushes. Look, AllTrails, I know you don't like me, and that's okay, because I don't like you very much either. I mean, we've been in each other's lives for almost 3 years now, and you've done nothing every Sunday except try to murder me. You've tried to murder me by the ocean, you've tried to murder me in the desert, you've tried to murder me on top of a mountain, you've tried to murder me on top of a volcano, you've tried to murder me underneath a mountain. You've just tried to kill me every chance you get. But seriously, I mean, can't you do better than this? I mean, this is just... I'm in the bushes, folks, and I guess there's some views up here somewhere according to the comments on AllTrails, but do I really want to stomp through? I mean, look, there's like motorcycle tracks out here, and there's gunshots randomly in the distance constantly. This is getting a little too redneck even for me. I mean, I think I'm done. Pretty sure I'm done. So I'm going to turn around before I figure out that Bigfoot really is out here. And I'm going to go down the mountain and get the hell back to my car. I mean, it's not much of a turnaround point, but it's definitely, I'll give AllTrails credit for this. This is definitely the best place to bring me, to slaughter me in the woods and leave my body for like the bears and the cougars to gnaw apart. If that's your goal, AllTrails, I mean, you've definitely picked the right place to leave me, but I'm a little smarter than you, AllTrails, and I'm going back that way. Okay, so AllTrails has me questioning my own sanity, which it's pretty typical. I mean, it is a gaslighter after all. But that was the trail right ahead of me. That's the trail that I took. Now look at this. So you can see in blue. Well, maybe you can't see anything, but there's a blue path that I took, and freaking AllTrails. So there's a blue path that I took, which is literally right in front of me, and then it claims that there's a green path. Well, somewhere in those bushes. That this is the only trail, the one that I took, and the one that literally left me to die in the woods. And it's claiming, now what AllTrails really wants me to do is randomly walk through the brush. Just no trail, it just wants me to wander in the forest and just hope that it's not leading me into some sort of elaborate trap. I'm back at the logging road, and I think I'm done. I mean, there's no views up here. There's no real end to the hike. You just kind of dumped in the middle of nowhere, and Oh, there's nobody here, so that's a bonus, but yeah, there's really literally no point to any of the 3 miles that I just did. Aside from the fact that I got some good ranting in, I was hilarious as usual, and I got to pummel AllTrails once again. Okay, so it's better than staring at my wall all day, and it's definitely better than going and socializing with friends. Oh, but yeah, so far out of all the hikes I've done, and I've done over 100 hikes, thanks to AllTrails, this is literally the most pointless one. It just brought me up to the top of a mountain and dumped me in the woods. Congratulations, AllTrails. You've made failing into an art form, and boy, are you good at it. All right, going down this thing is twice as boring as going up, because at least going up I had the anticipation that I might be headed to some point of coolness. Turns out AllTrails lied to me, and there was literally no point to this hike whatsoever, as I've already said. However, now I'm coming down this road and I'm literally just walking down a road. I mean, just not the most exciting thing, but I am in my head once again, because I haven't seen people in like an hour. I mean, not that I'm complaining. I mean, yes, the hike was completely pointless and AllTrails tried to kill me in the middle of the forest, but hey, at least it didn't do it with a bunch of sandwich-eating weirdos near me. So, I'm out here by myself, but my mind is starting to wander. I mean, I'm on a logging road. From the looks of things, I mean, look at this. This is a nice logging road. It's not torn up. It looks like it's freshly groomed. It looks like it's graded. It looks like it's got, you know, gravel, nice measure. It looks like you could literally drive on it. I might even be able to bring my logging Prius up here. It looks that well maintained. But I'm thinking to myself, what would it be like to be a logging truck going down this road? I mean, can you imagine? I mean, forget about being the driver in the cabin of the logging truck. We'd have to put ourselves into the mind of another person, and people. So I'm actually going to put my mind into an inanimate object and think. I mean, can you imagine going down this road? You got big rubber tires on, you're made of metal, and it's going. And yeah, this diatribe literally is not going anywhere. I don't really have anything planned. I figured I'd just talk the next 3 or 4 minutes as a truck and just make noises. But I mean, it would be cool to go down this thing in a truck. It'd be cool to be a truck. It'd be cool to be a transformer truck, you know, half robot, half vehicle. I mean, I'm so bored, this is literally pointless. This segment of the video is literally more pointless than whatever the hell AllTrails did to me at the summit. So, I think it's time for me to go down the trail. I'll pretend that I'm a truck another day. And yeah, I'm headed down the trail. I'm headed back to my car. And then I'm getting the hell out of here, because things have deteriorated out here in the middle of the creepy murder forest. All right, so according to the void of ridiculousness that is AllTrails, I have a little under a mile left on this hike, and thus a little under a mile to get back to the trailhead, and a little under a mile to get back to my car, to get in my car, and frankly to get off this super creepy and weird logging road, because it's a super creepy and weird logging road. But I am at the point on the super and creepy weird logging road that I think it is time for us to do our trail rating. We rate our trails on a scale of 1 to 10. It's an introversion scale, with 1 being the absolute worst thing for an introvert, and that would be something equivalent to Disneyland on the 4th of July. And this is a time in which all of the costume characters have been kidnapped by all the Imagineers. They're being held in that Rivers of America on Tom Sawyer's Island. And their demand is that the park lower the price of churros enough that anybody who makes the $300,000 Imagineer salary per year that they make can actually finally afford one of Disneyland's churros. In addition to that, there's screaming, there's explosions, the rides are breaking down, everything's on fire, children are screaming, adults are screaming, everyone's screaming. In other words, well, in other words, a typical day at Disneyland, but in other words, an absolute nightmare and a hellish scenario for somebody who's introverted. Now, you contrast that to a 10 on our scale, which is the middle of a field in Antarctica, nobody around, just you and your trained, genetically modified, and human flesh craving army of penguins. They don't crave your flesh because they recognize you, they've imprinted on you, and they recognize you as their leader. But if there's anybody else that comes within 100 miles of the penguin home range, they will identify, they will stalk, they will hunt, and they will devour them. So in other words, it's just you alone in the middle of a field with no one around for hundreds of miles, and if anybody does try to bother you, they get eaten. Sounds like introvert heaven to me, introvert nirvana. So that's a 10 on our scale. And given that absolutely ridiculously described scale, this trail today, or should I say, this really creepy logging road that goes up into the middle of the really creepy woods, well, I'm gonna put this about a 5 or a 6, probably a 6, because I mean there's hardly anybody out here. I've seen a few, and it's weird that I've seen a few because I don't get it. I really didn't get the point of this hike. I mean, I get the point of going uphill and getting exercise and all that, but that really creepy middle of the woods logging road, especially one where there's literally no payoff. I mean, I'm sure if I'd kept hiking through the mysterious and scary forest that I would have found views eventually. But according to AllTrails, where it left me, and it left me in the middle of the woods to die. So I didn't understand this hike, but I will say on the introversion scale, I had solitude. I had some peace and quiet. Yeah, I saw some people, which was absolutely terrible, and that's why this hike's getting a 6. But it wasn't the worst random wandering through the forest for no reason that I've done. I just don't get it. I mean, I'm sure AllTrails can explain it, but it can only explain it once it's stabbing you in the heart, so don't ask. But yeah, that leads us to our misery index, which is on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being complete fiction, and that's no misery. For anybody who's even seen a second of any of my videos, you know that I am one of the most miserable people in existence, and I'm always miserable to one degree or another. A 5 on the opposite end of that scale, however, is the worst misery that you could experience outside of the confines of hell. But unfortunately, for me, I'm constantly breaking through that level 5 barrier, and most of the misery that I experience here in the Pacific Northwest is usually on a 5 gazillion, trillion, bazillion scale. I mean, I'm literally so miserable, I'm inventing numbers. That's how bad it is here. Overall, I guess I would say, as far as an introvert goes, this isn't a bad hike. As far as a hiker goes, I don't get it. It was up an old weird logging road, and I ended up in the middle of the bushes. I guess some people are into that, but I don't think I'm one of them. So according to AllTrails, I have less than a quarter of a mile back to the trailhead, and thus less than a quarter of a mile back to my car and back to my ability to get the hell out of here. So unfortunately, it is time for me to say goodbye to all of you. But before I do that, let's do a quick recap. So today we did the Bell Mountain logging road up to the, I guess that was the summit. It was the middle of the woods, but that was the summit of Bell Mountain. And luckily I only saw a handful of people, but I did get to see some cool fall colors. I got to see a little bit of views through the trees. I got to see thick, beautiful forests, and I got to make up a bunch of really stupid stories about Bigfoot. So it wasn't a complete waste, I guess, but just a little bit strange, and I still don't get the point. But whenever AllTrails can death march me into the forest and leave me for dead, I mean, at least the people that make that app are happy, so somebody's pleased with themselves. But yeah, I am back. I'm actually right at the closure gate on the road here, and that's right off the actual main road, which leads me back to my car, and it's a whole complicated thing. But needless to say, all you need to know is stay introverted, everyone. And of course, I'll see you in the next adventure.